All right, so today I'm joined by UFC Bantamweight Marcus McGhee, coming off a crazy KO win over JP Buys over the weekend. How are you, man?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Another day above ground, so can't complain too much.
Awesome, bro. So you're back in AZ now, just kind of back to training and all that?
Yep, back in AZ. Back to getting everything squared away. Not training as crazy as I usually do, but definitely training still. Looking to make improvements. That's the game, name of the game, right? Figure out how to
Right.
improve. I mean, I felt really good, but I still feel like there's a lot of improvements that I can make. So excited to tackle those.
Okay, gotcha. So I guess let's just get into the fight. It was a quick fight, bro. But so from your debut, right? You got that fight on like a week's notice against Journey Newsome.
Hmm.
Quick finish, and then this one, it seems like you got a few months to prepare for it, or at least a couple, right? So how did it feel to kind of get that preparation and then for it to all pay off like that in the first round and get that knockout?
Yeah, no, it was great. I really liked the idea of getting the preparation. That's the longest camp I've had, so it was nice to have the time. Some people were like, "Oh no, it's probably better just to do what you've been doing and take these short notice." But I'm like, I like the idea of having some time and a face and putting in the right amount of work. So that was nice. What was the second question, man? I completely just spaced it.
Uh, the how you got that knockout. So you got some time to train, and then it looks like it paid off in the fight. So I was just wondering like how that all felt to kind of get the time and then get that result too.
Yeah, no, 100%,
Yeah.
definitely. And I definitely think it was attributed to the work that we put in as well to get that result. Yeah, because honestly, you never know. I went in there thinking I was going in for, unlike I always do, I'm going in for a 3 round, 17-minute fight. So when you get out of there and get out of there a little early, make a little extra money on the night, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Did you get the bonus too?
Yeah, I did get the fight of the night bonus or performance of the night bonus.
So that's your second bonus or first bonus?
That's my second bonus.
Okay, hell yeah, bro. So you got 100K now plus whatever you've been making off your contract. We'll get into that, but I just want to go back real quick. Can you kind of break down how that fight went? So were there things you saw in training camp that kind of helped you with this? Well, actually, you were supposed to fight Gaston Bolanos, and
Yeah.
this was a short notice one, so you didn't really get that much time to prepare for him, right?
No, we got plenty of time. So we got 6 weeks, a
Okay,
little bit more than six
6 weeks.
weeks, because Gaston pulled out after they let me know about 9 weeks out that I was gonna fight, and then he pulled out around 7 weeks out. So
Okay.
yeah, we only had that fight for about 2 weeks, and then and then they passed it on the JP. So we knew about it. And then there was, I mean, we definitely saw that there was some chinks in his armor on that right side for sure. I didn't really focus on it too much, but we knew that was going to be one of the things that I'm pretty good at, and that's what we just kind of looked at. What are things that I do really well that are going to already work against him, and then what are things that he does really well that I should look out for? So
Right.
that was kind of our mentality, and then just not to dwell too much on anything. Go out there, perform like we know we can, and then we figured we'd find the shot.
Okay. And then so how did you feel when you were in there? Because you look like you were flowing, bro, but kind of tell me, did it feel like just one of those good days or how did it feel when you were in there?
Yeah, I mean, it just feels. I really love when I think that's something that separates me from other people. Like I step in that cage, and there's no other place I want to be. Like I want to be there, and I feel that way. So it gives me a little bit of a chip on my shoulder to be free. So I went in there and I was free, and then I wasn't really thinking about outcomes. I don't go in there thinking about the win or the knockout or the submission or getting submitted. I just go in there and I just do what I came here to do, and uh, look to try to figure out a way to get this guy out of there. If it comes soon, then good. If not, hey, well, I'm in it for the time. So
Yeah. So you kind of like focus on being present in there. That's what Suga talks about, right? Just being present in the moment, like not worrying about results or like all these other things.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I'm not focused on results. We all want to win the fight. We all want to get paid extra money. But once I step in the cage, all the thought of results and wins and losses and all that stuff completely goes out of my mind, and I'm just focused on fighting.
Right. And so speaking of Suga, I mean, do you spar with him at all for this training camp? And if so, that's like JP Buys on steroids, you know? Like he's a way better version kind of. So did
Yeah.
it make it easier in the fight if you did spar with him?
Yeah, I sparred with Sugar, I think, like
Yeah.
3 times during this camp. Not as much. We've sparred a lot more for like the Peter Yan camp and other ones. In different styles, different sizes, different. There's a couple other guys that I was really sparring with to kind of mimic JP Buys, like Chance Ike and Beche Cantu, and Alex Coyote, and a couple different guys out here that I was training with that kind of can mimic him a little bit more. Don't get me wrong, Suge is good. Suge just a good body to train with, period, because he's so high level, and no matter what, it's going to be really good rounds. But some of the other guys were the guys that are really helping me out with rounds. Abdul Kamara.
Okay, gotcha. And so kind of like for what's next for you, you want to fight Bolanos still? I think you mentioned him in the post-fight presser, but what are you looking for next as far as timing and maybe opponent?
I'm not against Bolaños, but my coach even said, he was like, hey, if that was the guy we were supposed to fight after our second fight, why are we going to do favors and go fight him again right now? He pulled out of the fight, let him go do his work, and then maybe if he goes out there and does some work too, we'll jump in with him, But I mean, again, I'm not against fighting him, Like I was excited when they gave me his name. I was like, oh yeah, let's go. Like that sounds like a lot of fun. So, but at the same time, being smart about it, like that'd be going backwards, going to try to fight him, and I'm trying to go forward. So, no offense to him or anything, but as far as the way it looks, I'm trying to move forward, and that'd be going backwards. So, if the UFC really wants that one, I'm more than willing to take it. But yeah, I'm trying to move forward.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And I mean, if you look at it like Nate Diaz, you already got that dub, I guess. So.
Kind of, I don't want to go. I have nothing against the guy, but it's like we were scheduled and it could have already happened and it didn't. So it's like, all right, man, like when I get, it'll happen. He just has to go do his work, and I'll do my work. He does his work, and again, eventually, maybe it'll be for a lot more money too.
Yeah, link back up in the future.
Exactly.
What was it called? I had a good question. It just slipped my mind though. What was it? Oh, of course. You want to fight in like December, like maybe when Suge is fighting, because he's already talking about fighting in December, or are you looking to fight a little sooner? What are you looking at?
I mean, preferably November. That'd be better.
November.
Early November would be better, just because I have sister-in-law's wedding mid-November, and my wife will absolutely kill me if I miss that. Especially since we're in the UFC and we have time to figure out these matchups. And then plus, I would really like to just kick it with my family this December. Like I don't want to fight anybody this December. I'd rather just like not even be training, but not necessarily be focused on like training crazy. I want to take my family up north, enjoy some snow, do some things that we've never done. So that I ideally I fight in November.
Okay, gotcha. So November. And going on to your family now, I mean, if people don't know, I've done a little homework on you. So you got like what, 4 kids and they're like 13, 14, like they're older, right?
Yeah, I got 14, 13, 10, and 8-year-old.
Okay, and I guess now you can kind of give them those nice vacations because you've been putting in all this work, right? To kind of be able to do this. It's finally paying off.
I wish, it's definitely paying off. It's getting us from out of the rears, because that's what the focus been. Because again, having the family, I own a home, I own a vehicle, my wife owns a vehicle. We have a lot of expenses that that I've been fluctuating on because I wasn't making money at first. So I've been blessed enough to get both of those bonuses. Obviously, I haven't gotten the second bonus yet. It usually takes like 8 weeks to get that.
Okay.
But once I do get that, that'll put me in a little bit better financial situation. So that'd be nice. But at the moment, still like it was more so just pay back all the people that took care of me and held me down while I wasn't making money, so that we can get back into the green. And maybe I can start doing some things like that for the family.
Yeah, soon enough, right? Soon enough. You're on the right track for it.
And they're all still young enough too. And honestly, like we have such a good relationship that they don't complain because they know like we do so much together anyways. We don't necessarily need all the crazy trips to have as much fun as we have. But I want to have those before we get too old to have them.
Yeah, and I grew up with like a bunch of siblings too. So I would say that like that's really like the biggest memories I have. Not even going to like the places, but just the fucking like banter, like arguing, playing with my siblings and shit. That's like I think like what made me versus like the trips and all that shit.
Yeah,
like the family time. Yeah,
I think that if you really dwell, if we focus on those type of things, then it's never going to be a big deal, And that's how my kids are happy, and we have so much fun together. We do so much together and enjoy each other's company. So like they don't even like to go other places. It's so funny. We'll ask them if they want to go to friends' houses, if they want to go do anything. They're like, nah, we'll just kick it with you guys.
Okay, there you go. Hang out with you guys. They go to the gym and stuff with you too?
Yeah, they go to the gym with me.
Okay.
My two youngest like to go to the gym more, and then my son does. My oldest daughter's like, nah, I'm good. But She likes to hang out with us still, but no, she's not a big fan of going to the gym.
Gotcha. Do they like do any boxing and shit, or do they just kind of hang out and watch you?
No, yep, they all train for the most part, except for the oldest.
Okay, dope.
But yeah, boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, they all do that.
Okay, gotcha. And then, so I was watching your post-fight press conference, and you said something that was interesting, and it's something I like about this game, which is like a lot of times the journey gets lost in. You said it really good, but like the journey gets lost, right? On like the right or like, what was it? The success gets lost on the journey. So you could say it better than me. Do you know what that was that you said?
Yeah. Sometimes we just lose track of we lose track of this, of what's happening now and the journey, just because like we're like, oh, we want to all this success, like the success,
Right.
it clouds our mind so much that we lose track of the journey, all the moments that we get to have. Like it's not like, even though so sometimes like, oh, success is winning all these fights, but it's like all these fights combined might only be an hour of your life. And what about the other, 125 hours that you spent that whole 6 weeks of training, with your teammates and your family and all this stuff that you're doing? Like all those get lost in translation, and we
Yeah.
forget to enjoy those moments because we spend so much more. If you look at the fight lasted 2.5 minutes. I spent so much time with my teammates, so much time grappling, striking, hitting mitts, doing extra classes, strength and conditioning, all these different times. And for me not to be present in those moments would just be foolish for me to
Yeah.
to go out for 2 minutes, and then make that 2 minutes be the highlight of everything. Like that's not the highlight of everything. It's a part of it, and I appreciate it as a part of it. But the highlight of everything is enjoying the people that I'm doing it with, knowing that I'm putting in as much work and breaking through thresholds that I didn't think I could break through, and then just being a good man.
Yeah. And I think you also said something about like you would even this wouldn't have been a loss, right? Even if you didn't make it to the UFC, which is
Oh,
interesting. I think a lot of people wouldn't look at it like that.
absolutely. And I tell my teammates that aren't there that completely. And I don't just say it just because I made it to the UFC. Like I say it because I mean it. I started thinking that way before I even got to just start training, like, and I was still working. I was saying the same thing, because there's 1 or 2 points where I did get frustrated. I'm working all these crazy hours, making decent money, coming to the gym training, and I'm seeing guys get to the top and do their thing, and I'm still hitting these plateaus, and uh, it was frustrating. But once I realized, once again, that there's only 1 or 2 times that happened, and it was really quick for me to be like, you know what though? Look at how big of a part. I mean, Hunter sure is that fight ready yet now, but I was a part of him getting into the UFC. Like I
Yeah.
was I was there to help him through all his cage rounds, to give him looks, to do things, and then to watch him go do his thing. And I was just super happy for him. Like that was good enough for me. That was good enough for me. And I know it's
Yeah.
like weird to hear, but for me, I was like, man, I've helped and impacted other people's lives. That supersedes me getting to the UFC. People might know I'm in the UFC one day, but it's gonna be it's like, even if it's 6 years, it's a small period of life. If I live 60 years and I was in the UFC 6 of those years, you know, what's more important?
Yeah. No, that's dope. All the like backstory, right? Like people you helped get in and stuff like that. People who helped you get in, even all those relationships.
Exactly. When we
Yeah.
cross paths at 50 years old and we're like, hey, remember when you broke my
Yeah.
nose in the gym?
That's what I was thinking you meant when I heard you talking about that. I was like, I think he's talking about like all the stories and stuff and all the life experience you gain from it. It's like it can't be a loss,
It can't be.
Even for me, it's like I get to talk to you guys and stuff like that. If this all went away, it's like I still would be happy that I did this.
100%. It's everything that
Yeah,
comes along with it. We put too much value on things that aren't as valuable as we think they are, right? And not enough value on the
yeah,
things that we should, like the relationships that we build, the moments that we get to live in. All that stuff has so much value to it, and sometimes it just gets lost in translation for our goals.
yeah. I hear you, man. So I do want to get into like a couple other things. I could talk to you about like this stuff all day, but just to move it along to kind of be cautious of your time. Two things I want to ask you about, which is kind of like your journey to where you are. Just if you could sum it up for me, even. And then I want to talk about you working at the weed grow for a little bit because I heard you worked at the weed grow.
That touche.
So, okay, so as far as like your journey and stuff, kind of like, could you tell me where you're from, if you're even from Arizona, how you made your way out there, and like how you got into MMA? And you were working at like the gas station, right, for a while. You quit that, and then that's when you really started pushing for the UFC?
No, so honestly, it goes even for a lot further than that. So I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. My family came out
Okay.
here. My mom fled us out here after my dad got arrested. He got in some pretty big trouble in Detroit. Ended up doing a pretty big sentence in jail out there, and we were having issues. So my mom brought us out here to Arizona. So we've been out here ever since then. And then yeah, I was a skateboarder for a long time. Fell in love with skateboarding. Never thought about fighting. I've always trained though. That's one thing. My mom, even at a young age, my mom was like, "What are you training for? What are you
Okay.
training for?" And I didn't really know. I was just like, "Hey, I don't know what I'm training for, but when the moment comes, Mom, I'm gonna pop off. Watch." So mostly raised by my mom. Had a stepdad or two in between there, but mostly raised by my mom. Yeah, I was working at Circle K, but yeah, when I came upon MMA, actually, I was working at Circle K. I had already had 2 kids. I was trying to get into the military, and I was just like, man, I was just lost, and I was like, man, I need something, and I know how to fight, but I don't know how to fight, you know. So let me go over
Mhm.
to this gym that just opened up across the street, which was LA Boxing at the time. So I went over there.
Oh shit! I went to an LA boxing when I was a kid too. That's
Heck,
crazy.
heck yeah, heck yeah. So I was like
Yeah.
21 years old, started at LA Boxing, took my first fight after 2 months. Honestly, I would say I didn't even think about getting into the UFC until probably like my second or third fight as a pro, because the rest of it, again, I was never looking at it like it was going to be a career. I didn't realize it. It took me forever to realize, like, hey, this is something you could do as a career, make money at,
Mm.
and support your family. You know, it never really hit me. It always seemed like more something that was more selfish, like me just trying to chase my own, how good I can get, how much better I can get, how much more I can evolve, how much stronger I can
Yeah.
get faster. It was all that, you know. So that's kind of where I was for the longest time. I never really thought about it until, after my second or third fight, I was like, man, like I do this, this is something I do. And I noticed that the guys around me were like really good, becoming well off after it. And I was like, man, like this is something I really want to do. But I still didn't quit jobs at that point. I still worked. I worked at the weed grow. So Bloom Dispensary is what it was called. It was a cultivate, but I worked at the cultivation, and I started from security, working my way up from
Mhm.
security to being an operational manager. So as an operational manager, basically I oversaw the whole operation. So from seed to sell is what we call it essentially. So it was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy to be a part of that, to be a part of the growing process, propagation process, the flowering process, harvesting process, curing process, and then to put it all together, packaging, compliance, the whole nine. So I really did enjoy that. It's something I still enjoy. I still do grow on my own. So
Okay.
that's something
Hell
that,
yeah.
lucky enough, I'm in Arizona where I'm able to grow weed out here, so we can grow up to 12 plants.
Yeah.
And I do my best to keep up to 12 plants when I can. So
Hell yeah.
it's something that I definitely enjoy.
For sure, for sure. So, just going back to like, your come up a little bit. I hear that like you eventually, right after maybe like you tell me, but sounds like after your second fight, you said that you took it more seriously. When did you kind of quit working at Circle K, and then were you working at the weed grow after that? Because you said there's a time where you went into debt, right? Recently,
Yeah,
because
that's
you quit your
recently.
job and you went full into MMA.
So I didn't even quit. I did want to quit, but I didn't even quit.
Mm-hmm.
They severed me. So last let's
Oh.
say April 20th was my last paycheck from work, and I worked for Bloom for 7 years, and we got bought out by another company, a big corporation. They came in, realized there was issues, got rid of a bunch of managers. I happened to be one of those managers, and they severed me. Right, I got some severance pay, which was great, but that severance pay only took care of me for about 3 months. So, that's
Mm.
about another 10 months that I had to figure out how to pay, $2,000 worth of mortgage, $500 worth of a vehicle, gas, massages, chiropractic, all
Right.
that stuff. So, luckily I had some guys that believed in me, that helped me out and pushed me to really stay unemployed, and just focus on my career. And that's where I kind of went into debt with it. And they always say it wasn't necessarily debt, it was more them just pushing me. But I'm really big on paying back the things that are given to me. Like that's one of my main. Again, I care more about that type of stuff than I care about having a ton of money. I care more about the character that I exude and look at myself in the mirror. So yeah, I was like $60,000 in on my cooking show, on my podcast, just for paying my mortgage and truck payment, just from paying for chiropractic, massage therapy, all those different things that all these fighters are having, that these guys get to have, but I never really got to experience it. So I experienced it, and it was great to do that. And now it's paying off to the point where I can take care of those guys and pay them back. So.
Yeah. And I guess like how has that been for your life as far as like ever since you got severed from the weed grow and stuff? Sounds like you started a podcast, cooking show, now you're in the UFC. Like was this just like a huge blessing in disguise for you? Do you even know if you would have been able to be where you are today if you didn't get severed from your job?
No, 100%, because I was scared, man. Like, again, my I didn't have my dad there. So for me, it's been
Yeah.
really important for me to be the provider, protector for my family. So I never took that leap. Even though I really believed in myself to take the leap, I never took that leap. And it was a blessing in disguise for them to make me take that leap. They didn't give me a choice. And it made it easier too, because I didn't have to fight with my wife. Because they let
Yeah.
go of me. I was like, hey, babe, there's nothing I can do. They let go of me. Now I got to go fight full time.
My
So
hands are tied.
yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta roll with me now. So
Yeah.
that's what we did, and she rolled with me, and I know she was just as scared. But things ended up working out for the best, and I believed the whole time. Like I definitely believed in the fact that it could happen, but I also am I'm a realist, and better guys have done less, what I'm saying? Better guys have come up short. People that have lived a life better, and I know that I take this very serious and I give all my heart to it, but I always think that in my mind. So it was great. It's been great. It's been great. And it definitely was a blessing in disguise. It was like the Lord just told me, hey, you're going to do this, whether you like it or not. I don't care how much you like the weed game. This is not your calling. Your calling
Yeah.
is to get out there and impact the world and be there for people who maybe believe they can't do it.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy how things work. But you mentioned your dad a little bit, and if you don't want to mention it, it's okay. But I just want to kind of ask you, what did he go to jail for, and did that kind of like affect you at all throughout your life?
Yeah, 100% it did. So my dad went to jail for second-degree murder. So
Okay.
I definitely, and again, we didn't know him much, and I mean that's not that surprising for Detroit. Detroit in that early '90s, early or late '80s, early '90s is a violent place, and
Yeah.
so that's what he went to jail for. And obviously having a dad who's a murderer and all that good stuff, and my mom thought I looked just like him. It affected me because I always was told like I'm being similar to him, and not that he's a bad
Yeah.
man or anything, but I had a lot of anger issues. I was too willing to be violent. All those things, which I think they all are good things, but again, it's all about how you direct them, like, and I direct mine in positive ways, and I've been able to do that for a long time, but it definitely affected me growing up for sure.
Yeah. And how did you kind of move past that? Did martial arts help? Because I know that helps a lot of people who deal with aggression or violence and stuff.
I
Did
think
that kind of help you get your head on straight with that?
I think it did, but it wasn't traditional
Yeah.
martial arts. I was always into martial arts, so very much anime, very much martial arts, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, all the Donnie
Yeah.
Yen. So listening to them and following them and kind of just being fans of them and looking at the discipline side, that was always instilled in me. But then the areas that I was at and the people that I was around was kind of like pushing the complete opposite, which is like be arrogant about it, boast it, go out there and use it, like use your violent abilities for not good. So there was kind of like
Right.
those two sides of it where I got friends and people around me that are like, nah, we're going to, oh, snap, you can get down like that. Oh, we're going to use you. We got something
Yeah.
that you could do with that over here, bro. Let's go see this. And then it was the opposite side of it. It was like, no, a true martial artist sheaths his sword, like until the sword needs to be drawn. So there was a big dilemma in my life where it was like learning how to sheath the sword and learning how to utilize the aggression and attributes that could be used for positive as
Hmm.
positives and not for negatives.
Oh, that's interesting. So you had people pulling you both ways. Like you kind of understood martial arts, how it's like kind of good guys, right? But then you had people kind of pulling you this other way, like loving how you can fight people, and they're like, "Oh, come fight this guy, come fight that guy," or something like that.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's crazy.
again,
So you're conflicted.
I
You're
was
like, where do I go? Like,
I was
yeah.
conflicted, and it made it conflicted me inside too on who I wanted to be and
Mm,
the character that I wanted to exude. Because I wanted to do that for people that are around me, but at the same time, it was like this is wrong. At the same time, it's like I know that the people that are pushing me to do this are in the wrong, and they're utilizing this and for the wrong reasons. And the opposite side was like, hey, but you know what? This is what they do. This is what we do. So let's go do it.
right.
So But it's all good because all of it led to me being who I am today and not taking things for granted, right? I understand that thought process. I understand what it is to be put in positions where you do things that don't necessarily describe your character, but you do them because of your surroundings. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's something that I think is gonna stay attached to me and lead me to help others that are in the same type of situations.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty cool. And last thing on this one, then I'll ask you about like some of your growing stuff. Um, it's interesting because I think a lot of like young boys, right? They like want to be like their dad, regardless of if even if they're in their life or not. But for you, is like it was that hard thing because he went to jail for like such a a bad thing in a sense. So how was that? Because you probably hadn't like naturally you wanted to be like your dad, right? But did you have to like almost fight that or something, or is that like another confliction in your life?
Yeah, definitely. That was a there
Yeah.
was definitely conflict in that, and I didn't know him, and he didn't really reach out to us the whole time he was in jail.
Oh.
So
Mhm.
that kind of was a positive too, because the only things I knew about him is what I heard about him. You know, I didn't meet him until I met him when I was 14, and again, even when I met him, he didn't really speak to us much and say much to us at that time. So like again, I didn't know him. You know, so thinking I was gonna be like him was hard anyway, because I didn't know him. And anytime anybody
Yeah.
said I was anything like him, I wanted to be different. You know,
Mhm.
so it was conflict, but you know, we live and we learn.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, so as far as the growing goes, one thing I'm curious about because I tried to grow some weed before and I got all the way to the end of it, but then you had to cure it. And dude, I don't know how to fucking cure it. In my like, I was looking up a video. They said do it in the closet, like hang it upside down and shit on hangers. You probably know what I'm talking about, but come
Yeah.
on, teach me a little bit here.
Yeah, well, you have your dry period and your cure period, and most people
Okay.
forget the dry period. So the dry period is when you hang it upside down, and some people will cure it that way, but I don't believe that that is curing. That is still drying. So your dry
Mm,
period, depending on the humidity in your room, the AC in your room, and then the air circulation in your room, you should dry between 7 and 11 days, right? So I usually like to
mm,
keep my humidity right around 55 or 60 the whole time. Sometimes the first day I'll drop it down to like 35, right? I get a dehumidifier
mm,
in there and I'll drop it down to like a 35% relative humidity just to pull some extra moisture out that first day. And then I'll cut it back up to 55, 60. And then I'll have my temperature in there around but honestly, as long as it's under 70 degrees, you're good. But I like to have mine around between 60 and 64 degrees if I can.
oh really?
Like super
Oh, just
cold.
to suck out more moisture.
Well, it just keeps it cold, keeps it really cold in there, and
Okay.
the trichomes get preserved in cold, so your product doesn't degrade as fast in cold weather, right? So
Mm,
it just takes care of it, make sure it takes care of your trichomes better, right? So you hang it upside
yeah.
down, and you want to do that for 7 to 11 days, depending on it. So once your stems start to snap, once the stems on the plant start to snap, that's when you start to know, okay, it's getting pretty close. Especially if you're teetering with the buds, and they snap off. That's about what you want. That's when you want to take it all down. I usually use scissors
Mm,
to take it down because again, we're gonna mitigate touching all the trichomes, exploding the trichomes, so we're gonna be able to preserve more of the product. So I take scissors, chop everything down, put it into glass. That's the best thing you could do. Put it into glass. Like if you can get glass
like the
jars,
mason jars, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
glass mason jars. That's the best thing you do. Don't fill those more than 75%. I would say really don't fill more than 65, 70%. But don't fill more than
Because
that.
it'll mold, right?
Huh? Yeah, because they can mold out. Exactly. Well, the more
It can mold,
product
yeah.
in there, the less air circulation in there, and especially if there's still humidity or moisture in the plant, that moisture is going to come out as it sits inside of the jar, which is going to lead it to be able to mold, mildew, all
Mm-hmm.
those type of things as well. So that's what you want to do, and then you're going to want to burp it every day once you get it in there. So every day for the first 2 weeks, all you do is go into it, go open the jar, uh, let some air in there, close the jar, maybe shake it, not shake it hard, but like move the buds around in it so they're not just sitting on each other. Open it up again, just let that gas out, close it again, throw it into a dark area. And basically do that for the first 2 weeks. And then after that, it's smokable, really. But if you want it to be perfectly cured, give it 30 days before you start smoking. And then when you bust that bad boy open, you're going to know.
Okay. So wait, the burping period is for like a couple weeks or something like that, and then you let it sit for 30 days?
Yeah, you still want to burp it at least once a week though. after the
Oh,
first
once
2
a week.
weeks. Yeah, still burp it once a
Okay.
week after the first 2 weeks, even twice. But for the first week, you want to burp it or the first 2 weeks, you want to burp it every day.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So last two things then. How much weed you smoke? You smoke like all day long, or you like more strict with it?
So what I'm in a spiritual awakening point in my life right now where I'm really trying to get a hold of all the things I do. And I'm not against cannabis, but I'm against abusing anything, worshiping anything that's not God, right? Like if I
Yeah.
have to do something every single day, that means that I'm in worship to it. So I'm at a point right now where I'm trying not to smoke as much. But yes, normally my smoking habits are terrible. I usually smoke in the morning, after the morning, or smoke in the morning right before breakfast, smoke after breakfast, smoke before practice, after practice. I'm usually smoking, you know what I'm saying? So
That's me. That's me. So I feel you.
exactly. So I'm at a point right now where I'm really trying to control that. It's unhealthy. I feel good. I don't think it bothers like necessarily my output or my training or a lot of those type of things, but it just makes me feel like I'm not in control of the things that I should be doing.
Yeah, no, I could relate to that too a little bit. I feel that. So last thing then, your boy Sugar Sean O'Malley fighting for the title this Saturday, man. How you feeling about him going in there? Obviously, you're confident in him, but just break down that fight a little bit for me.
Yeah,
Things you've seen from him in training camp.
yeah. I think that anytime for every moment that they're standing on their feet, Aljamain is in danger. Every moment. And honestly, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he's not in danger if they're on the ground. I just know that that's Aljamain's ballpark. You know what I'm saying? Like Suge is not known. If we look at the statistics across the board, Suge is not known for holding guys down and keeping them in position and beating up on them. That's what Aljamain does. So I know that. I think if I really have to my opinion on it, I think Suge is going to put Aljamain to sleep. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, to say that I think Aljamain has no chance, well, I'd be lying. Aljamain is great. He has some very unorthodox striking. He gets into the body locks and takedowns very, very easily and without effort, which means he doesn't have to use as much energy. He has a great gas tank. He could absolutely come and upset everything I'm saying. But man,
Yeah,
Suge has that thing, man, and guys think that guys think he's too far away, and he's not. Guys think he's not that he's too close, and he's not. These guys just don't understand his range, don't understand his power, and he has a very good understanding of that. And I think that that's going to pay big dividends in the fight against Aljamain. So if I had to say, I think that he's going to put Aljamain away. But again, I'm biased. That's my teammate. I really want to see him go out there and grab a title and change his family's life for generations. So I'm biased, but yeah, Sugar by finish.
yeah. For sure, for sure. And just my thoughts on it. I mean, they already kind of mentioned it a little bit, but it does feel like his destiny a little bit. This is the only other guy I felt like he's like Conor McGregor, where there's that doubt because, you don't know how good his grappling is necessarily, but he gets the job done every time. And yeah, I mean, he feels like it's his destiny, like Conor McGregor almost. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, same
Seems
like.
like he's destined, right? Even like the way he talks and stuff, he's very like, um, I don't know the word, but methodical.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%.
Yeah,
I definitely think it's part of his destiny for sure. But
yeah,
I think we create our destiny too. I think it was given to him. The ability was given to him. Whether or not he goes out and grabs it is up to him. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But he definitely was put in the position to achieve it, and he believes it, and now he just has to go grab it. So I definitely think so. I definitely think it'll blow him up into a whole nother atmosphere. And again, who else has done it like him other than
No
Conor
one.
McGregor? Like not too many guys have done it like him. And just the more that I start doing, and the more like social media stuff, like everyone like clowns on him for all the social media stuff. That man is working. I'm aggravated.
Hmm.
Like I just fought Saturday. I thought that I was gonna have some time, and I'm doing all these different things, and I'm aggravated. I have to tell myself,
Yeah,
"Oh, this
yeah,
is what you asked for." That man is working so hard behind the scenes, and these people don't
yeah.
understand how much work he's putting in, how much money he's spending on all these things. So I'm not gonna doubt him, and I don't think the rest of the world should doubt him either. They should open their eyes and know that he's working a lot harder than all these other guys are for sure. These guys are just
No,
fighting.
yeah. Even like all the extra stuff outside of practice, like you're talking the meditation, like the ice bath, like not having your phone in the morning and shit to be more present. That's gonna like play out in the fight. So all that's super interesting. Just to finish this off though, you got a couple like shows. You got a cooking show, right, and a podcast. So you want to let the fans know a little bit about the names of those, and then where they can find it to watch you.
Yeah, yeah. So I got my cooking show, Munchies with Marcus, it's on YouTube. You can check out my YouTube channel. I got a couple different YouTube channels, and then I got my podcast, which is Punches and Pints. So that, yeah, definitely go check that out as well if you guys get a chance to. And yeah, I'm gonna be keep on dropping them. I'm just having fun with them right now, trying to get monetized, trying to get out there and do more with them. Get better about doing it. Bring on different collaborations, and more so than anything, have fun and be able to communicate with fans and use a different type of platform. So yeah, Munchies with Marcus, and then my Punches and Pints, and then I'm looking to start dropping a skateboard vlog here soon too, where it's just certain times me skateboarding, working on new tricks, just trying to hit new parks, different things like that. Maybe give back to some of the kids in the community, board giveaways, things like that. So I'm working on that right now too.
Okay, yeah, that'd be dope. You should hit up Jalen Turner. You guys should skate together.
Yeah, we've actually been.
Jalen Turner?
Yeah, a lot of people have been tagging us, so I think we're gonna make something happen.
Yeah, for sure. I live actually like 30 minutes away from him. He's training in Costa Mesa. I'm in Cali too. So there's a lot of good skate parks out here.
Heck yeah, that sounds like a plan. Got to go up to Cali and tear it up.
Hell yeah, bro. All right, man. Well, I really appreciate the time. I think you gave me a little extra. So have a great rest of your day there, brother.
Absolutely.
And good luck to Sugar this weekend.
Absolutely, bro. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on, man.